diagonally across.
Really?
Yes, that was the size of the TV.
Wow.
And TV was composed of boxing, wrestling, cigarette ads, and beer ads. And then all of a sudden on TV, on Channel 13, was
Yes,
it?
yes.
Channel 13,
Here
there
in LA.
appeared the first variety program in the United States.
Well, not really.
And this
but it
little
was-
gal was dancing,
Wow.
tap
was a host
dancing,
on it.
you know. And this is 1949. I just came back from Europe,
Right.
fought in World War II, and so I'm a real old timer, Doug. You know. So anyway, I came back and was entering. I had entered the University of Southern California as a sophomore.
Softball.
Yeah, as a sophomore, and I was in my senior year. So this was job hunting time, and you know, back at that time, you know, today all the companies, they go to the university and talk to professors, and all of a sudden they have all these kids lined up, boys and girls. These are the top guys and so forth. Well, back at that time, they didn't know what that was coming. You went out and knocked on doors. Well, knocking on doors when nobody knows you're coming, they don't know who you are, is not a very easy task.
No.
Jobs
No.
were very hard to get. There were too many GIs, and these darn women, they'd taken over all the jobs while we were out there fighting. We couldn't get rid of them. They
Can't
liked
blame it
working.
on me.
They liked the women working in there, you know, rather than men. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, they didn't want to get rid of the women, so it was hard to get a job of any kind. So anyway, I went to Channel 13. I had seen this young lady on the TV station doing her dancing. I thought, my gosh, she's a cute little gal, and she's really very different from boxing and wrestling and all that stuff, you know. And you were. So anyway, I went to the Channel 13, and I went in and introduced myself and said, you know, I'm interested in a job because I graduated in June, and I'm going to have a Bachelor of Science degree, and I've got to get something to work pretty soon. And so he talked to me. It was an interview, and we had a good conversation. And he said, well, I can offer you a job, but he said, I have to admit that I don't know what kind of opportunities it presents because I don't know where television is going.
And they offered you on camera.
Yes.
Yes, on
Yes.
camera.
And he said, you have a wonderful voice, so he said, you'd be great on TV for us. So he said, I'd offer you a job. And I said, well, let me put it in my pocket, and I'll have to get back to you, because I'm out there knocking on doors right now. So he said, well, that's great. He said, I hope you'll give me a call. And I said, well, I'm here. Let me tell you that I came in because I really saw this very cute gal on your station that comes on, it's whatever it was called, and I don't remember anymore. And I said, I'd really like to know who she is because I'd like to talk to her. And he said, well, stick around because she's going to be coming in here very soon. So I stuck around. And then pretty soon this little gal traipses in, and you've got pictures of her that you know what she looked like at that time, and mighty cute. So I waited around and we met. And she said, look, I'd love to marry you.
I did not.
Margaret.
You got it
Am I
wrong
rushing the
again.
story?
You got it wrong
Oh, I
again.
got the story wrong.
That took a while.
Well, one
So
of-
anyway, we talked for a while there in the station, quite a while in the station. We had a nice conversation, and she
what was
was.
one of your jobs from your fraternity house?
That's right. One of my jobs in my fraternity house was to recruit new members. So I thought, well, I can't recruit her, but I can recruit her for personal reasons. So anyway, we ended up getting a date for lunch at the farmer's market. I was
Wow.
familiar with the farmer's market. I thought that's a safe ground. You know, she knows I'm not in a
Right.
noontime farmer's market.
You had your pants on.
Right, I had my pants on. Right. So we had our first lunch. So that's how we met.
Wow.
All right. And so then after that, I invited her out some more. We went to the beach at Zuma Beach, which I hadn't heard about, but she knew about Zuma Beach and said, let's go out to Zuma Beach. We did that on a Sunday or something. And so it grew from there.
Wow.
And then what happened is that I graduated in June of '49, and she came to my graduation,
Yes.
sat there in the audience, watched me get my diploma, and I came down afterwards, after I accepted my diploma, came down the steps, and she threw her arms around me and said, "I love you."
I did not. I did.
I was just saying, wow, what a graduation.
Yeah, it really was. It was just great. Best graduation I've ever had.
Well, I don't blame you.
It was also my first and my last graduation.
Well, that's
So anyway,
fantastic.
we got acquainted, and then I got a job. I was the first guy that Mobil Oil hired on the West Coast.
Really?
Yeah, and Mobil Oil owned General Petroleum.
Okay.
General Petroleum was formerly Gilmore. General Petroleum got Gilmore, and then Mobil Oil bought General Petroleum. So that's the company I went to work for in 1950 there.
Wow, 1950.
Right. And they said, well, okay, we need you, we want you. You're the first college graduate we've hired because we're just getting started after the war of hiring people again. So we want you to set up a training program. So that was the start of my working for them. And so I was sent to San Francisco area, and she went her way with...
To ABC, the Almost Broadcasting Company.
Right. And so we parted ways, and we didn't see each other or talk to each other after that. And the next, you know the story of our meeting, of my senior sign in Amsterdam?
Yes.
All right. So that's what happened then. So then my friends sent her an email, and we have to find that bracelet I gave you.
I have it.
All right, we need to get
And
that
you can
out.
still sing the song. Can you sing the whole song from his fraternity still?
Well,
ACACIA, drink to the men of old. ACACIA, drink to the men so bold. ACACIA, drink to the men so true. Drink to Acacia, drink the sparkling brew.
isn't that
Very
great?
good. That is awesome.
Right.
That's very good.
So anyway, that's how
Wow, that's amazing.
that's how we got
That's-
acquainted again after all those years. And so I went down on our cruise down through each of the stopping points of the
In Europe. In Europe.
in Europe, right? Visiting each of the worst spots, and we finally got to Omaha Beach then. And then I got to a telephone, and I called her from France.
From France. I
Talked
was
to her on the
impressed.
telephone and said, I thought we ought to try and find a way to get together. So when I get back home, I'll give you a call, which I did. And then she came up with the fact that she had been in the Andy Griffith program, and there was what's it called?
It's called the Mayberry
The
Day.
Mayberry Festival. And she said, that's up in Mount Airy. And you know where that is? And I said, no, I've never heard of Mount Airy.
You
I
never
was
heard of
living-
Andy Griffith?
I was living
Really?
at Hilton Head at the time. So I looked it up, and I found out it was about 600 and some miles. And I thought, well, that's kind of a long way for me to drive by myself, but I'll do it because I'd like to see her.
How
So-
old were you when you drove 600 miles all by yourself?
I was about
What
92,
had happened?
92, 93.
No,
No.
what had happened? What did you
90.
answer me when I said, is there any way that you could come up the mountain? You said, well, I have to have my 94th birthday party
Oh,
first.
that's right. You're right. So I had my 94th birthday party in Leland, North Carolina with
Wow.
my friends there, my golfing friends.
And then in about 3 weeks, he made his way up, drove 8 hours up to Mayberry. And we walked in, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and it was love at second sight.
It's second sight.
Well, what clinched it,
Yeah,
as
right.
you told me, was the Costco membership.
I was going to tell you how we got engaged.
That's true too.
He's telling me on Monday, the next morning after he had come up and we had done the big party for Mayberry, he said, let's meet for breakfast, which we did. And he said, I'm going to have to buy you a new house. What? He says, yeah, nothing happens at Hilton Head. You need people. And so I have to buy you a new house. I said, but he said, it has to be near Costco. And I said, what? And he said, I shop at Costco. And to lighten the whole thing, I didn't know what, I said, "You're a member of Costco?" He said, "Yes." I said, "You have a Costco card?" He said, "Yes." "You'd let me use your Costco card?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Will you marry me?" True story. And then he said, "Well, we'll have to figure this whole thing out."
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
that was it. Yeah.
That's the foundation for a true relationship right
There
there.
you go.
Costco membership.
There you go.
Costco.
There you go.